Obviously this, Wargaming announces, we looked at it briefly yesterday, but Wargaming announces decision to leave Russia and Belarus. Over the past few weeks, Wargaming has been conducting a strategic review of business operations worldwide. The company has decided it will not own or operate any businesses in Russia and Belarus and will leave both countries. Effective March 31st, the company transfers its live games business in Russia and Belarus to local management of Lesta Studio that is no longer affiliated with Wargaming. This is really, like, this sentence here is, this is a big thing. This sentence right here is really big, because unlike something like World of Warplanes or World of Tanks, World of Warships is basically only developed by Lesta Studios. Lesta Studios is the one that develops World of Warships. They are the guys who run the game. They are the guys who develop the game. These are all the head developers of World of Warships. And they are cutting them off from Wargaming. This is huge. This is a gigantic change because first of all, what's going to happen with the World of Warships Russian server? Is it going to go the way of China? For those that don't know, the Chinese server is cut off the same way, and the Chinese server hasn't got any updates since RTS carriers almost. Like they are like years of patch cycles behind World of Warships. They have a completely different game there with their own meta and everything. That's the way it goes on China. Are we going to see the same thing happen for World of Warships Russia? Are we going to see the same thing happening for World of Warships Russia? Is it going to spin off into its own version? And what is going to happen with Lesta Studio? Because who is going to be the owners of the Russian server? Is it going to be, I would assume it would be Lesta Studio. Are they going to continue developing the game for the Russian server? Are they going to keep running it? Is the Russian server going to split off, and is it going to stagnate, or is it even going to advance further than the rest of the World of Warships game? Because you got to remember, all their devs are there. All the companies there, all the assets are there, the infrastructure, everything is there. So what exactly is going to happen to World of Warships now? Wargaming will probably, I would assume, they will try to entice to get some of these developers to leave Russia and Belarus and move somewhere else and continue developing the game. So are they going to be competing with Lesta now, who gets the World of Warships developers? Is the game going to split? Like, they now have the carrier rework. Yeah, they got got some updates there, I know. But like the Chinese version of World of Warships is completely different. But this sentence here is gigantic. Because this literally, Lesta Studios are the ones that are in charge of World of Warships. We had the CV rework, we had the CC rework, we had the Commander rework, and now we got the Wargaming rework. So far, every single one has been a shit show, so let's just say that my expectations aren't very high. But this is without a doubt a significant change. Because effective March, the company transferred its live games business in Russia and Belarus to local management. Does this mean that World of Warships is its live games business? Isn't that World of Warships? Live games business in Russia and Belarus. Doesn't this mean that they literally transferred World of Warships to Lesta Studios? I don't know. The company will not profit from this process either today or going forward. Much to the contrary, we expect to suffer substantial losses as a direct result of this decision. We will be completing the operational transition with all due speed while remaining in full compliance with all laws and ensuring the ongoing safety and support of our employees. During the transition period, the live products will remain available in Russia and Belarus and will be operated by the new owner. The live products will remain available and will be operated by the new owner. So the live products, this is World of Tanks and World Warships Russia, will be operated by, I assume, Lesta. But the thing is, the World of Tanks isn't as developed only in Russia the way World of Warships is. So it can continue to be developed and worked on elsewhere. But then there's this. Wargaming has also started the process of closing its studio in Minsk, Belarus. And as far as I understood, this is their largest office. The Minsk office is their largest one. So this is like the main studio, the original big studio. Thank you, Little Maple. So this is the main studio. We will be providing as much severance and support as possible to our employees affected by the change. Now this is a bit questionable. I'll show you guys some translated Russian news about this thing. The way it's been done is kind of questionable. In fact, many of the employees only found out about this closing the same day it happened or the day before. But we'll get into that later. Despite the magnitude of this decision, we as a company are confident in the future of our business and are committed to delivering quality games to our to our players. So, like, what is going to happen now? Because what is going to happen with World of Warships is really the interesting question. I would assume Wargaming owns the rights to World of Warships. It's like their game. They have the ownership for it. But all the talent, like all the dumbasses, the balance department and the marketing department, but also all the art department talent, all of that was Lesta Studios. So how is the game going to move forward from this when they've literally lost their entire development team for the game? The entire development team for the game is basically gone. Like, so this is, yeah. This is as a change, and as well it comes to the future of the game, this is gigantic. This article is about as clear as mud. Yeah, the fact that this doesn't specify. That's what's interesting. It doesn't specify. Wargaming Games, I mean, they're still advertising. They're number one, World of Tanks and World of Warships and like everything. I assume they keep the ownership of the game, but the ownership of the IP and everything, but This is going to be a big change. This is absolutely going to be a gigantic change. So, Wargaming apparently has about 5,500 employees. They have some, for example, well, to be fair, in general, they're just Wargaming. They're not having a good time at all. There's a reason Wargaming is very much against the whole Ukraine bullshit. And if Wargaming has about 5,500 employees, they had about 550 employees in their headquarters in Kiev, in Ukraine, and obviously those 550, well, all the work there, all the talent there has been cut off, and then they have about, I think, was it 2,000, over 2,000 employees in Minsk, and now that's being cut off as well. So we're talking basically half of the employees of the entire company are cut off, and like all the infrastructure, everything related to it. So it was mainly World of Warplanes, I believe, yes, but I mean, obviously they used it for different features as well and assets, and like it was part of their infrastructure. So they literally have lost half their infrastructure now in a matter of months. So when it comes to the future of the game, like how quickly we're gonna keep developing, keeping it up, is gonna be, no one knows. It's a big question. It's a big question what they're going to be doing. Now there is something rather interesting. I can show you this thing. This is a Russian page that is being auto-translated by Google Translate. It's called vc.ru services. This is a discussion about what is happening in Wargaming right now. And the team is just in a trance. No one expected this. Employees of the Minsk office of Wargaming spoke about closing. Keep in mind, this is Google Translated. There might be accuracy issues. They learned about the company's decision right on the day of the public announcement. So much for the warning they got. Wargaming employees answered questions from dev by dev.dev about the closure of the studio in Minsk and the cessation of work in Belarus. Employees learned about the company's decision to close the Minsk office only on April 4th. Prior to that, they were informed that the office would continue to work. Studio employees received a letter signed by Viktor Kisley, the founder and head of Wargaming, similar to what was previously posted on the company's website. Wargaming has begun the process of gradually closing its studio in Minsk and will conduct it in strict accordance with the law. Product and service leaders will be meeting with their team shortly to elaborate on how this decision will affect each department. We will provide compensation and support to those employees affected by this decision to the maximum extent possible. I mean, I guess at this point, are we really surprised that this company has a communications issue? I mean, a miscommunication? Are we are we at this point even surprised after their incredible history of communication issues with the player base? Now it turns out, well, they also have a communication issue with their own employees. Honestly, not surprised, really. Honestly, not surprised at all. It's it seems like standard. It seems like classic World of Wargaming. The liquidation of the office will take 4 months, said one of the employees in Wargaming. During this time, workers will have to decide whether to quit or move to another country. So obviously, this means Wargaming wants to recruit them. And that makes sense. This is their talent. This is literally the people who have been working on this game for years and years and years. These are the most experienced people with the potato engine. Keep in mind, this is the Big World engine. The World of Warships runs on a Big World engine. This is an MMORPG engine from 2002, I think. It's literally 20 years old. And there's probably not too many people quite as familiar with running and developing on this engine as these guys are. So obviously Wargaming will try to retain the talent to get it. It's a modified Big World engine, Holger DK. That's really it. That is what Big World of Warships Big World engine. Let's see. Big World. Here we go. It was acquired by Wargaming in August 2012, and they use it to, here we go. Published games using Big World technology include World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, World of Warships, and then MMOs, basically. So yeah, World of Warships is developed using the Big World engine, which is an MMO engine from, I think, 2002. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. They bought the engine outright, yes. They bought the entire company, basically. So they bought the entire engine at the same time. The whole thing. So yeah. In fact, there are two main options: dismissal or relocation. Relocation, provided that you are a valuable employee, though it is not clear by what criteria they will be evaluated. Oh, that's fun. Always fun to know if you're valuable or not based on the offer you will get. Wasn't this engine already old in 2012? Yes. Relocations options will be offered individually. Nice. Dismissed will be upon the closing of the office. Compensation is promised, but the conditions are not yet known. We were told that the team leaders are now urgently calling up teams, but they still do not have all the information. Wargaming employee. Congratulations, you might get an offer for another job and moving and everything, or you might not. Find out before you're unemployed. Employees who are registered in the Minsk office are in a trance, the studio worker admitted. According to him, no one expected this. A Wargaming employee interviewed believes that many specialists will quit, at least 50%. So regardless of what happens, we're talking about basically half the World of Warships development team is gone. It will be gone. And that's a pretty big thing for the future of the game. Now, clearing out the rat's nest isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I mean, At this point, the direction of the game for the past couple of years hasn't exactly been great. The monetization has been obscene. The design decisions don't seem to be working towards the continued future growth of the game, but rather trying to make as much money out of it as possible before it collapses. So, in a way, a clean sweep might not be the worst of the things for the player base or for the players, but for the developers themselves, it's obviously ass. It's obviously ass. Most likely they will relocate to Lithuania, Poland, the Czech Republic. Readiness for relocation is a big question. In Belarus, there were those who did not have great opportunities to leave and live in peace even on IT salaries, as well as those who have strong ties with their families here. But now the majority will probably reconsider this decision and still leave if offered. In general, during relocation, they'll help with paying for visas, flights, and accommodation for the first month in a new place, plus a bonus on expenses. So obviously Wargaming does want... They want to keep as many of these as possible. They want to keep as much of their talent as possible. But accommodation for the first month. That's not a whole lot of accommodation. Especially since you don't know what kind of obscene expenses you might get. Also, getting out of Belarus, like selling your house and everything, like that's no... If they're house owners, if they have family, like... But just getting compensation for the first month is kind of dog shit. Compensation is good, but only 1 month is a tough call. Because, like, these are people that probably lived their entire lives there. They probably have families, they might own houses, they have cars, they have all sorts of things. They have possessions that they probably can't take with them and they will want to sell. And for those that sell a house... that is no small process. And then finding new accommodations, like familiarizing yourself with the bureaucracy of a completely new country. It's... Sheesh! This moving countries is a big deal. It's a big deal. According to a studio employee, at present workers simply do not know how events will develop. Personally, I have no idea what's next. My colleagues do too, or they do not either. Relocation is an option, but the question is about conditions and location. Most likely we will be offered the same salary conditions, but tax laws in another country can cut off net income. Yes, I don't know if they will offer me at all. That is, to look for alternatives now or not is an open question. The Wargaming Studio announced the decision to leave Russia and Belarus on April 4th. Sheesh. Oh, these translated comments are pretty potato, so we're just gonna skip that. The translation isn't very good on that. Site source. This site is vc.ru.services. I mean, we can change to. This is the Russian site. This is what it normally looks like. This is a Google Translate version of them. Hill Divers. Dive more. Lovely co-op game. Best wishes. Okay, I can accept the gift by Soulsmaster. Hardcore cooperative. What was it? That sounded spicy. Interesting. Well, I accepted it. Thank you very much. So in the short and long run, what seems to be the best options and things that will happen to the game? I mean, whereas I said that a clean sweep might be a good thing, this entire shit show is probably not in any way, though, particularly good for World of Warships. I don't see how it wouldn't affect the pace of development. It will probably cause delays. It will probably cause huge slowdowns in updates and changes and new content, because it means, well, setting up a completely new infrastructure. It means potentially losing a lot of data, losing a massive amount of talent, having to recruit new employees. There's a huge amount of issue going on. What's going to happen with Russia, the Russian server, compared to the rest of the world servers, I have no idea. The Russian server is hosted in Europe. It's hosted in the same place as the EU server. That's why you have the same ping. So what will happen to the CIS server? I don't know. Is it gonna split off like, because now it's under Lesta ownership. So is it gonna split off like the Chinese server? It's gonna drift off with a different patch. Will you be able to connect through it using the Wargaming client anymore? I don't know, because the Wargaming client is obviously Wargaming property. So are we gonna have completely new logins through Lesta's own pages? There's a massive, like, will they start developing the game in a different direction than Wargaming are? So we might have two different versions of World of Warships. Right now we already have two. The Chinese version is like super old, but since Lesta probably, are they even allowed to develop or work on it? I have no idea. Wargaming owns the IP. There's a lot of questions here. Will they potentially offer relocation to another server? No one knows. Like, seems to be the kind of the Wild West going on right now in Russia. So they probably don't even feel obliged to potentially offer any relocation. Why would they want to lose their customers? There's a lot of questions. Who owns the WoW's IP? Let's start Wargaming. I would assume Wargaming owns it. But yeah, a lot of interesting things going on regarding the future of the game, and honestly, at this point, there's a lot of things up in the air. We don't know what's final, what's not. How is it going to change? A lot of question marks, because ultimately the Wargaming post was extremely unclear. It was a general, we're leaving. Is that why you keep disconnecting from the Russian server then? I don't know. Potentially. I don't know. Like, does it have something to do with it? Is something about the infrastructure? Absolutely no clue. Help to relocate Dasha when? No clue what will happen to Dasha. Absolutely no clue what will happen to Dasha. Will she disappear quietly like the other... What was her name? Alena? What's her name? Alena, the other chick that at one point was also in World of Warships. I mean, let's be honest. Wargaming does have a... Okay, what's happening here? Oh, this is just more... This is the same thing we just talked about. This is just a different site. Talking about the same thing. Russian version with a bit more info. What page is this? Oh, what is this? Okay, this is just a different site with the same stuff. Talking about the same thing. This is just the same thing. Hello, translate please. This is just Wargaming closing this. Lesta Studio is a Russian gaming company, cooperates with Wargaming since 2011, jointly developed one of the Wargaming games, World of Warships. On the basis of Lesta Studio, the Wargaming office in St. Petersburg worked. Until now, the company's page on LinkedIn is called Lesta Studio, Wargaming Center. 2,400 Wargaming employees worked in Belarus. Jeez. So they now own the game in Russia, the live games in Russia. Wargaming transfers its gaming business in Russia and Belarus to the local management of Lesta Studio, which is no longer associated with the company. The decision came into force 31st March, so it's already active. They already own it. Jeez, no clue what will happen. As for Dasha and Alena, I mean, Wargaming is kind of Wargaming has a history of being really shit at talent management, or just really shit at, honestly, a lot of things when it comes to working with other people or companies. Like the whole Azur Lane thing. You know Azur Lane, the big titty ships, the big titty weeb ships. That company loves to work with everyone. Like, they literally, if anyone wants to use their assets, they will happily make like, I mean, here's an example. Azuma, that's Azur Lane. So I mean, Azur Lane collaborations are like basically any company that wants to collaborate with Azur Lane is allowed to collaborate with them, but Wargaming fucked up the whole Azur Lane collaboration, so that's why we don't have any more Azur Lane ships or Azur Lane titties in World of Warships anymore. There are World of Warship ships in Azur Lane because it was World of Warships that fucked up. It was Wargaming that fucked up. So Azur Lane gets to continue to use World of Warships assets, but World of Warships doesn't get to use Azur Lane assets anymore. So how did they fuck it up? When they did a collaboration with Arpeggio, you know the Arpeggio of Blue Steel, they did a collaboration with them, and then they used Azur Lane assets to advertise it. So they literally advertised their competitor using, like, they advertised Azur Lane's competitor using Azur Lane assets. So, yeah, it was, well, there might be. Let's see if I can find a picture of that. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe let's search for Arpeggio. Shit. Shit. Anyone have a picture of it? Anyone have a picture of? Oh, here it is. I found it. Never mind. I found it. I can show you guys. Like, they even made a video where they made like a custom banner for Arpeggio, but they used, well, you can see Azur Lane, San Diego, and whatever this character was. They even made a video with it, and they fucked up the entire sponsorship because of that. So they're just not very good at managing sponsorships or managing cooperation, or like, I can understand Azur Lane being pissed off because, I mean, Arpeggio is like direct competitor. It's also Ship Girls, and then Wargaming fucks that up. So yeah, so they had to take down the video and re-upload it with the content removed, but I mean, it was too late at that point, obviously. So that's really it. That's why I don't know what happened with Russia. Wait, actually, in the most recent World of Warships, I haven't actually looked. Wait, World of Warships YouTube. Let me check. The recent. Has there been recent patch notes? Oh, here's the recent patch notes. Is there no Dasha? Oh yeah, shit. You can see Dasha here. Dasha is here. The last patch. Her face is on every patch note, but then this most recent one. No Dasha. There's no Dasha. Dasha is gone. Who the hell was this? There was some dude? Oh, this guy. Oh, he's... Huh. Dasha gone. They said she was on holiday? Interesting. I mean, was that an excuse, or will Dasha return? I don't know. I have no idea what happened to Dasha. I am not informed. Holiday to Gulag. Jesus. Good lord. No, I don't know. I actually don't know. I have no idea, but that's really the TLDR of much of what is going on right now. We do not know. We can only speculate. And ultimately, you know what they say about assumptions? They make an ass about you and me. So yeah, we don't know. We don't know what happened. It's all a question mark. At this point, all we can do is wait for more information and see what happens. It's an interesting time It's an interesting time for the future of the game because basically anything can change at this moment. Unknown times for the games, yes. Yes. May you live in interesting times. Well, we are living in interesting World of Warships times right now. There is also no information about this on the World of Warships Russian forum. The official forums are always heavily censored regarding every sort of discussion. You will not find like a lot of things, a lot of shit shows, a lot of dramas, the CC walkout, a lot of these things are heavily moderated on the official forums. So looking for information on the official forums is sadly the last place to look. Uncharted Waters, yes.